На Чернобыльской атомной электростанции произошла авария. Поврежден один из атомных реакторов. Принимаются меры по ликвидации последствий аварии. Пострадавшим оказывается помощь. Создана правительственная комиссия.
Hello, all of you wonderful people out there in broadcast land. Welcome to another episode of Black and White Reviews. My name is Chuck.
My name is Will.
And it is going to again just be Will and I as your hosts. We are going to continue going through the 2019 HBO original series Chernobyl. And tonight we're going to be doing episode 3, titled Open Wide O Earth.
Yep.
Yeah.
More nonsense from the Ruskies. The further and further you get into the series, the more and more idiotic a lot of these plans and a lot of these like movements seem. The big one out of this episode for me personally, like the biggest mistake is you have a massive disaster on your hands, but the KGB is worried about the people who are cleaning up said disaster. Let's use our resources to follow people around. Why? For what? They're cleaning it up. They're fixing everything that, for all intents and purposes, the government did wrong. And you have people right now who are like actively trying to like fix this, and they're being looked at with a side eye. And they're being arrested, and they're being followed, and they're being questioned, and it's like, this is really? And you even have Legazov in this episode, like, is this really how it works? Really? Is this really what it is? And it's like, yeah, well, yes. So that's like, out of this episode, that's the big thing for me, is just, I can't imagine a government so irresponsible or so paranoid that you're going like this is the actions, this is the steps that you take. Here we have a group of people who are actively trying to help and fix this disaster, and you're going to be suspicious. Okay.
Well, I think their biggest suspicion is, are they going to tell the rest of the world what's happening?
Yeah, I guess so.
Who cares? Like, but it's the KGB for you. Like,
at this point, the damage is done, though. Right.
Before we get. So speaking of KGB, when
yep,
it's a great way. That's a great way to start a sentence, right? Speaking of the KGB,
yeah.
So when my oldest daughter was born, her mom and I came to an agreement that if it was a boy, when she was pregnant, we were like, if it was a boy, that I wouldn't be able to name him. If it was a girl, she would name him. And she came up with a great name. And I said to her, I said, you know, I like the name Crystal, but with a K. And my last name is Benedict. So I was like, we should call her Crystal Gabriella Benedict. And she's like, that's a great name, but I want to go with this instead. And my dad's in the room, and he basically slaps me upside the head.
Wow.
And I'm like, Crystal Gabriella Benedict. He's like, why? He's like, he's watching it and reading it. And I'm like, and she's like, well, why would you want to do that? And I'm like, well, her initials would be KGB.
Okay. That's pretty funny.
It was a gigantic no from like everybody in the room.
Of course. Oh man, if you actually got away with that though, I would my respect for you would go through the roof if you actually were able to pull that off. That's funny. That's funny.
I'll have a boy. I'll go for a fourth kid, which I'm not doing. But if I had a fourth kid and it was a boy, it'd be Kevin Gabriel Benedict. You're like, I'm consciously thinking of how to make her initials.
I know you are. Out. I can tell.
And everybody in the room was like, you're an idiot. Her mom didn't get it at first. But when my dad said it, when I said it, she was like, yeah, we're definitely not doing that. But it's a dad thing to do. It's a dad thing to do. Why not, right?
I don't think you're an idiot at all. I think if you have a fourth kid, you should absolutely go for it. I think you should do it. Go for it.
I'm not having a fourth kid.
Okay. Okay.
I'll get a dog and I'll try to figure out with a dog.
That's funny. That's funny.
Oh my gosh.
That's a really funny story.
I wish there's a part of me that's like, I wish I got away with it, but I didn't.
Epic. It would be epic.
Imagine like all of her things where it like asks for an initial and she's like KGB, KGB, KGB.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, that's funny.
So, aside from you trying to name your kid KGB, how did you feel about this episode?
These episodes get more and more intense as it goes along. Last episode ended with the guys doing the whole water thing and the lights going out.
Yeah.
This episode picks up right where that left off. And we'll talk more about that in the spoiler territory. But this it threw me off a little bit because each episode on HBO, it's TVMA, and most of them say for, scary images, language, all of this stuff. This episode said scary images, language and nudity. And I was like, oh, great. Here we go.
To be fair, like going into after you watch the first two episodes, to be fair, when you see nudity at the beginning, you should kind of know that there isn't going to be anything over sexualized going on. This is not the kind of show.
No. So at first I was thinking more of a Schindler's List type nudity where you got all these all these, wretched bodies that are all, and you're seeing them in that. And then it started going on and I was like, okay. So my first thought after that was we're going to see Emily Watson. And I was like, I wouldn't do that to her in this episode. And then I was thinking this firefighter's wife.
Okay.
And I was like, she's in there to see him at the hospital. Is she going to do something for him because, he's dying and, all of this stuff. And then I was like, no, they're not going to do that. And then this scene happens and I was like, whoa, that I was not expecting. But it was hysterical. It was great. I swear they put it in there just for comedic relief right in the middle of this.
It has to be.
Because it was right in the middle of this hard pressing episode. I mean, Stellan Skarsgård, his acting is through the roof in this TV show. He nails it in this episode. Jared Harris is right up there with him. These two, like this duo that they, they bounce off each other so well with their acting, and they pull it off so well. And Stellan Skarsgård, my respect for him and his acting has gone up because of this TV show. And I think, if we talked about him a lot before, but I think that he should be doing a lot more than what he is doing because he's a phenomenal actor. He is a fantastic actor, but there's a lot of hard pressing stuff in this episode. It's difficult to watch.
Yeah.
There's just
the hospital scenes are rough. The hospital scenes are rough. And that to piggyback, when I first watched it and I saw nudity, that's what I thought. I thought that they were just going to show the people in the hospital beds like this is what happens to the body when it's like radiation poisoning city. Like that's
Right.
what I thought when I saw nudity. I didn't think it was gonna be these miners deciding to strip down and do their job. I did not see that one coming, but it's a thing that I
It was
saw, so
perfect.
now I have to deal with it.
It's a per
It
it's
was.
perfect.
It really was. But like you said,
Um
it was rough, especially when you get into the hospital, when you get to this firefighter and his wife. That is hard. It's
it's
rough.
hard.
It's
It's
rough to
super
watch.
hard. Um but overall, I think that just I actually, when they do TV shows like this one, they like when you watch the trailer for this TV show, they
Mhm.
say that this is the untold true story of what happened with Chernobyl.
Yep.
Um and I like that better than based on a true story or loosely based on a true story or you know Titanic based on a true no. Yeah, the ship going down was a true story. The rest of it not so much.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
so I mean there were cool things like the shit like the captain going down with the ship, the band that was playing until the ship goes down. That stuff is true and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um but the overall like that wasn't the story of Titanic though. The story was Jack and Rose.
Didn't that door
This
recently sell on auction for like millions?
the door.
Yeah.
Oh, the one that she couldn't,
I'll
pull him
never
up
let
onto.
go. I'll never let go.
Come back. Come back. Did you hear that the pool that is on Titanic to this day is still filled with water?
Is it really? That sounds disgusting. Did I freeze?
You just froze on me.
Did I really? Ah.
I can hear you, but I can't see you. I can see like a thumbnail. I'll give it a few moments.
Hang on. Oh, that's because this closed for whatever reason. There we go.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry about
But
that.
yeah, the pool on Titanic is still to this day filled with water.
Yep, what's the punchline?
It's filled with water.
Okay.
It's under the ocean. The whole thing's filled with water.
Oh, very nice. Ha ha ha.
My wife tried doing that with me, and she gets mad because she likes to pull all these like brain teasers on me, and I'll answer it in like 13 seconds, and she's like, "How did you know that?" I'm like, "It's not difficult." Um.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but
Yep. The door sold on auction for $718,000. A prop. A prop from this movie sold for 718 grand. Yep.
$750,000, $750,000,
Yep.
$1,000,000.
Yes, sir.
The door. It's a
What?
broken
It's a
door.
door. It's a door. It's a door. It's okay. Okay.
Why?
I don't
Why?
know.
Who would buy? I have the door that Rose laid on. Don't care. Don't care. Back to a good TV show though. What I like about this, a lot like Schindler's List, a lot like other movies that are based on on actual events, and they actually bring you into the reality of what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's almost it's not a documentary, but they're hitting all the right parts though.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's done, in movie format, story format, and it actually, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I love just watching how it plays out. So
I was trying to like sit around and compare this to something else, like what happened historically that you can like tell this kind of story to. And I can't really think of anything like of this magnitude. Like everything else that would have happened like happens here. Like you have a whole lot of documentaries or like miniseries about like, the 60s in movies or the civil rights movements or like the mob in the 30s and 40s and Prohibition and all that. Like, you have miniseries that do that. Never has it been like something foreign that hit over here so well. This has to. I can't think of anything else. Like
Band of Brothers.
Well,
I mean, that's still American based.
that's still American. That's still American. I don't count that. I don't count like a Band of Brothers or like a D-Day, because all those people came back home and they told their stories. Something like this, you have to like piece together for a couple of different reasons. One, we weren't over there. We didn't have like, reporters or boots on the ground over there during when this happened. Two, you have to take into consideration what exactly the KGB covered up, and then just what records or documentations were destroyed when the Soviet Union fell, like a few years later after this. So it's like, it must have been a task to put all this together. I can't imagine.
I think once they got the guy's tapes too, once those leaked,
sure,
that probably gave the big story.
That probably gave which, you know what? You're right, because it's being told through his eyes. It's being told through Legazov's eyes, which I understand. Right. But I mean, like, when I say filling the gaps, when I say filling the gaps, I mean in little mild spoiler, when the leader or the head of mining or whatever like that, like, shows up at the mining yard, and they all pat him on and get his like jacket and his suit all dirty and everything. There's no way that we can know whether or not that actually happened. That's what I mean by filling in the pieces.
Right.
It's totally like kind of an up in the air thing, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Little things like that is what I'm talking about. We can't tell for sure whether or not that. And there are other things that happen. There's a big story plot that happens that I won't spoil for you that's coming up, where Legazov isn't involved with at all. He's gone. He's away. And this thing happens, and it's like, did it really go down like this? That's what I mean. So I don't know. But You're right. You're right. Everything that has to do with the tapes and has to do with Legazov and his story and the way that he tells it and the cleanup. Yeah, we have the tapes that we can refer to be like, okay. And, so yeah, I agree.
Cool. Well, since we're not doing like, the three of us, it's just us. Let's get right into spoiler territory. So for all of you watching on YouTube, find the rest of this video on patreon.com/blackandwhitereviews. There'll be a lot of extra content up there. We are focusing more on putting some things on Patreon, so that you'll get your money's worth. Starts as little as $3 a month. You get some great merch. And the more that people help support, the more merch we can get, the more content we can do, and the more we can grow this. For Facebook, find us at Black and White Reviews. For Instagram and YouTube, at Black and White Reviews 1866. And I want to say this too. On Instagram, we are just about to break 400 followers. So thank you to all you so far who are following us on Instagram. Our next goal is we are working on YouTube as well too. We haven't put 4 or 5 years of effort into YouTube. It's only been what has it been, like a year now that we've really been focusing on.
If that. I don't think it's been a year. I think
so
we're coming up on it.
Yeah. So right now our goal is to hit the magic number of 100.
Yeah.
We're about 3/4 of the way there. So tell all of your friends, share all of our content, follow us, subscribe, and comment. So with that being said, here we are entering into spoiler territory.
So I want to go back to something that I was talking about earlier with this door from Titanic that sold for $718,000.